Selling your story starts with finding your customer. You can't sell to somebody that you're not proximal to. You can't sell to somebody that you don't know exists. You can't sell to somebody that doesn't know who you are. And again, if we're bringing the power to the people, then let's find them. Don't make it difficult for them to find us. Go to where they are. So how do we go about finding our customer? How do we go about identifying who that person might be? Everybody say market research. And again, we were talking about this briefly before. We've mentioned it throughout the course. And if you've heard me even before we were doing the mastermind, this was a term that I heard so often and nobody ever defined. And so even though I'm doing like coaching around business plans or lean canvases, really trying to take time to destigmatize what some of these terms mean. When I think about market research, I think about two different kinds. Primary, everybody say primary. Primary. That's talking to the people. All right, primary starts with a P. So you think about primary research, think about talking to the people. What are ways we can do primary research? Listen to some of them here. Interviews. All right, surveys. I was talking to Charisma. Was it yesterday? We was emailing yesterday? Or was that today?
Today, this morning.
This morning? So yeah, early this morning for sure. And you a hustler. You was up early. But yeah, Charisma, who did a fantastic job at this month's storytelling workshop, last month's. Had people in there crying and just profound. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And the only reason I bring it up is because at that workshop, after the workshop, she sends me a survey and asks me about what my experience was like, because she's talking to the people. And she's going to use the data she collects, qualitative and quantitative data. I'm going to talk about why that's important in a second. Another one is focus groups too. So just like the people at your table, a group that they ain't got to be that big. And be intentional with who you select and what questions you ask. But that's all primary research, talking to the people. There was a nugget that we had dropped last month about the relationship between talking to your customer and building a business ecosystem. It starts with talking to the people. And so many people wonder why they don't know the customer because they never had a conversation with them. Yeah. You can quote all this secondary research. You're right. You can quote the quotes from the books. You subscribe to the Harvard Business Review, the Wall Street Journal. Butler got a whole bunch of these. I can't even name them all. You got all that. And you know how to navigate these government agency websites. And you can list off statistics on statistics on statistics. But you want to know one of the reasons why I don't use statistics? Because I'm oftentimes talking to statistics. We're seeing as numbers. So why would I refer to you like that?
Come on.
So you can know all this stuff here, secondary, but have you talked to the people? And you wonder why businesses feel like they can't impart value or their customer won't purchase? It's because you ain't talked to them. They don't know who you are. And so if you want to get to a point of successfully selling your story, you got to find your customer. And when you do, let's talk to them. That's primary. Like I said, secondary are these books, these articles, government agencies, and there's a number of others, but it's data other folks have collected. It's not yours. It's data other folks have collected. And when you take what you learned about your customer from primary research with what other folks have already learned about your customer from secondary, find the patterns. What are the things that are in common? Or what's the thing that's different? It was a great attempt. What's the thing your customer says consistently across the interviews, focus groups, surveys, books, articles, and the data that government agencies collect? Or what's the thing your customer never says in the interviews, in the focus groups? So we're there. But guess what happens? When we identify those patterns, you know what we can create? The persona. Then I can create my REL. I can create the 28-year-old Ivy Tech Community College grad. She would have been a Miss Ivy. She would have loved to learn from you. She would love to know who Miss Ivy Tech was and what that went into. I know she works at Salesforce. I know she listens to the Side Hustle Pro podcast. I know she loves watching Insecure. I know these things because I did some interviews and some focus groups. I conducted some surveys and I read some books and some articles and checked out what some of this free, and I'm just saying government agencies because you can get so much data for free from what the government publishes year over year. But across that information, right, I was able to identify these patterns. And those patterns create this person that I built my business around.